Welcome to the Energy Gateway's Deep Dive. Today we're going to be exploring a realm you might not even realise is shaping you right now. The world of ancestors and past lives. We'll be drawing on fascinating conversations I've had with Juanita Puddifoot. She's a transpersonal therapist who helps people navigate these very influences. And she's in the studio with me today.
Hi. What's so fascinating is we're not just talking about some vague spiritual ideas here. My work reveals tangible connections between these hidden influences and the very real struggles we face today.
Okay, I'm already intrigued. But before we dive into those connections, can we clarify the difference between ancestors and past lives? Because, it can be a bit nuanced.
Yeah, it's easy to kind of conflate the two. For simplicity, let's say ancestors are those individuals within your bloodline, in your family tree stretching back through time. It's the unresolved issues from our ancestors, whether they're emotional or even physical, which can create energetic patterns that echo down through the generations, impacting your life today.
So that's what people mean by energetic inheritance.
Exactly.
But how does this energy actually get passed down? Is it embedded in our DNA or something?
It's a great question, and one that researchers are still exploring. Think of it less like a physical inheritance and more like inheriting a psychological tendency. So let's say your great-grandmother lived through a famine and developed a deep-seated anxiety around food scarcity.
Okay.
That anxiety, that energetic imprint can be passed down, maybe manifesting as some sort of eating issue or an overabundance of, food hoarding in later generations.
So it's not just like physical traits that get passed down, but emotional patterns as well? How do past lives fit into this?
Well, while your ancestors are in your lineage, past lives refer to your soul's experiences in different lifetimes. And just as the same as ancestral inheritance, unresolved issues or traumas from these past lives can influence who you are and how you feel today. Mm-hmm. It's like your soul is carrying a backpack filled with experiences from all those previous journeys which influence your life today.
Okay, so we're not just individuals walking around. We're like walking accumulations of all these past experiences, both inherited and personally experienced.
Exactly. And this is where my work really gets fascinating. I see clients struggling with issues in any area of their life. It could be mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual. This can manifest as low mood, repeating negative patterns, and even phobias. When working with clients, we find a link back to ancestral or past life trauma.
Can you give us an example?
In a past life, you may have been trapped and buried in a mine or earthquake. The terror imprinted on your soul from dying this way is not suddenly cleansed away after death, and so could easily manifest in your life today as some sort of behaviour where you avoid situations that trigger that inner feeling of being trapped. You may be in a relationship or a workplace situation where it triggers or touches that sense of being trapped. Then you're going to want to get away, run away from that situation, could finish the relationship, or actually leave work.
So a fear that seems irrational in this lifetime could have a perfectly logical explanation when you consider past lives. It makes you wonder how many other issues we deal with today might have roots in these hidden layers of our past.
It's a compelling question, isn't it? And this brings us to another common struggle. Clients I work with often encounter the fear of abandonment, a feeling so many people can relate to.
Oh yes, that deep insecurity, that fear of being left behind or betrayed. It can be so debilitating. Is there a connection to past lives and ancestors here as well?
Yes, I often find that this fear stems from past life or ancestral experiences of huge, profound loss and separation.
Can you give us some more examples?
Imagine being separated from your family during a war, witnessing your village being raided, or experiencing the horrors of slavery where loved ones were ripped away from you. It's as if that primal fear of being alone or vulnerable gets embedded in your very being to the depths of your soul, which manifest across lifetimes.
So it's like those feelings of insecurity might not be, to put it in quotes, you just being overly sensitive. They could be echoes of genuine suffering, whether from your own past life or passed down through your lineage.
Exactly. And this can help people understand that they're not inherently flawed or broken, that they're carrying a heavy burden from their soul's past. And this understanding can be the first step toward healing.
What other surprising connections have you uncovered, Juanita?
Well, I often encounter clients grappling with profound guilt. And we're not talking about, the everyday guilt over a white lie, something small. This is a deep-seated feeling of responsibility for things going wrong, a sense of having done something terribly wrong, even if there's no obvious cause in their current life.
That's fascinating. Where do you suggest this type of guilt originates?
Well, this often traces back to actions taken in past lives, especially for individuals who hold positions of power or authority in those lifetimes. Imagine being a military leader forced to make impossible choices that lead to the death of others.
Could you explain a bit more?
Well, perhaps it was a decision for the perceived greater good. But the weight of that decision, the guilt of those lost lives, can stay with the soul, and the residues of this manifest in many lifetimes.
So you're saying, Juanita, that someone walking around today feeling like everything is their fault, constantly apologising, might be carrying the burden of a past life decision.
Exactly.
Then the phrase, "it's all my fault," might be a past life bleeding into the present?
It's a compelling possibility, isn't it? And recognising this could be incredibly liberating. It allows individuals to separate their current self-worth from actions taken in a past life and begin to release that unwanted guilt.
So we've covered fears, abandonment issues, and now guilt, all potentially stemming from past lives or ancestral influences. But what about something like relationship problems? Can those be tied back to past lives as well?
Absolutely. Over the many years of working with clients, I have found many people have had past life roles and power dynamics which have created repeating patterns in their present relationships, causing difficulties. It's like our souls remembering those past ways of relating.
Okay.
And unconsciously recreating them, even when they're no longer serving us.
What kind of past life experience could be impacting someone's love life today?
Well, imagine a past life where you experienced a severely unbalanced power dynamic, like a master-servant relationship.
Okay.
The roles, the behaviours, the way you related to that other person leave an imprint on the soul.
So you're saying that someone who was, for example, a servant in a past life might unconsciously recreate those dynamics of submission or control in their present relationships, perhaps attracting partners who are domineering or struggling to assert their own needs.
Exactly. And it might not be so overt, but these subtle patterns can sabotage relationships, preventing genuine intimacy and equality. And the same could be true for someone who was in a position of power and status in a past life.
Right.
They might unconsciously seek to dominate their partners or have difficulty letting go of control.
That makes a lot of sense, but how can understanding these past life influences help people have healthier relationships? Isn't it just adding another layer of complexity?
It's not about blame, it's about awareness.
Okay.
Once you recognise these unhealthy patterns and where they might be coming from, you can start to work with the past life story or the ancestors' unfinished business to actually bring healing and release. It's identifying the root cause that brings transformation and releasement from the past, to cleanse the residues and dissolve the negative influences to create a healthier, more fulfilling relationship in the present.
I like that. It's empowering, really. Instead of being a victim of your past, you're using that knowledge as a tool for growth and healing. Juanita, you also mentioned something called battlefield residues.
Yes.
That sounds extraordinary and intense.
It is. We use this term to describe the physical ailments we experience today that could be linked to unresolved injuries from past life battles. And I'm not just talking about physical wounds, but the emotional or psychological trauma of war as well.
Past life battles. Are we talking like swords and shields or modern warfare?
It could be either. Think about the kind of traumatic injuries one might sustain in a battle, depending on the century. You could be cut with swords, stabbed with pikes, being shot, or, modern weapons and bombs. Whenever the battle in whichever century, war is intense and impacts the person's soul, including deep physical, mental, and emotional scars. These scars may not always be limited to a single lifetime. They can linger, echo through time, and manifest in unexpected ways.
So you're saying, for example, that a chronic pain in your leg, one that doctors can't explain, could be the echo of a past life injury. Like maybe you were a soldier who was shot in the leg, and even though the body died, the energy of that injury somehow carried over into this life.
Yes, and exploring these battlefield residues can offer profound insights into addressing otherwise unexplained health issues. A fascinating perspective on healing, and recognizing that our physical bodies hold memories and traumas that extend far beyond this current lifetime.
This is starting to sound a little science fiction, but it also makes a strange kind of sense. If our emotions and memories can be impacted by past lives and ancestors, why not our physical bodies too? It really challenges our understanding of what it means to be human, doesn't it?
It absolutely does, and it opens up a whole new realm of possibilities for healing and transformation.
All right, we've covered a lot of ground here, from fears and relationship patterns to unexplained guilt and even physical health problems. It seems like the influence of our ancestors and past lives could be far-reaching. But where do we go from here? What's the takeaway for our listener?
The key is recognizing that we are more than just our current selves. We carry within us the echoes of countless experiences, both our own and those passed down through our lineage. It's beautiful and complex tapestry woven from the threads of countless lifetimes.
So we're not just starting from scratch in this life. We're building on a foundation that's been laid over lifetimes. And that foundation includes both the triumphs and the traumas of those who came before us. It's a bit daunting, really, but also incredibly fascinating.
It is, and understanding this can be deeply empowering. It allows us to see our lives, our challenges, and even our strengths in a whole new light. It invites us to explore those hidden layers.
I see.
And to connect with the wisdom and resilience of those who came before us.
Okay, as we wrap up part one of this deep dive, here's a question for you to ponder. What unexplained patterns or issues in your life might have roots in the past? Maybe it's a recurring fear, a health problem that defies explanation, or a relationship dynamic that keeps repeating. Right, take some time to reflect, and we'll be back in part two to explore even more fascinating insight with Juanita. Welcome back to our deep dive into the world of ancestors and past lives. Before the break, we were discussing how even physical ailments might be linked to a past life experience of battlefield residues.
Yeah.
Where injuries or traumas from past life battles can manifest as physical or emotional issues today.
Exactly.
It's a powerful idea.
It is, and it really challenges us to expand our understanding of what healing truly means. Also, it emphasises that these battlefield residues aren't just about physical wounds either.
I was just thinking about that. The emotional scars of war must be just as profound, if not more so.
Exactly. Imagine the terror of being on a battlefield. The grief of losing colleagues, the sheer helplessness, all in the face of violence. These experiences can leave deep imprints on the soul.
Absolutely.
Just as real as any physical wound.
So, someone who experienced a particularly traumatic battle in a past life, even if they weren't physically injured, could still be carrying that trauma with them today.
Absolutely. It might manifest as anxiety, panic attacks, nightmares, a constant feeling of being on edge, or it could even contribute to what we call PTSD in this lifetime.
Okay, it's like the soul is still trying to process and heal from that past life experience. It's impacting us on a physical, emotional, even spiritual levels.
That's right. It speaks to the interconnectedness of our being and reminds us that true healing must address all these aspects. It's a holistic perspective that acknowledges the profound impact of past and ancestor experiences on our present well-being.
Okay, let's say someone listening to this is really starting to wonder, could some of my issues be connected to past lives?
Absolutely.
What's the first step? How do they even begin to explore this?
It's important to find a qualified deep memory process practitioner, or DMP for short, professional. Check out the website link Deep Memory Process, which is all one word.com. DMP graduates and I specialise in working with the residues of trauma from childhood or adulthood. and also with what we call soul wounds. And these are past life residues, ancestors, and spirit attachments.
Okay.
This isn't just your typical therapist, though.
Right. It sounds like a very specialised field.
It is.
What exactly does a past life regression entail? Is it like hypnosis?
Now, this is an interesting question because with DMP, we don't use hypnosis in the structure that people may be aware of. Over the years, we have found that the past life memories are on the surface of a person's psyche and are actually playing out in the person's life today.
Okay.
It's more about having awareness of relaxing and, allowing that deeper memory and experience to surface. I guide you into a deeper state of consciousness using visualization and other techniques.
So you're not actually going back in time in a literal sense?
No, not physically, but your consciousness can tap into those past life memories and emotions, often with vivid detail, as if you were there.
Is it safe?
Yes, when conducted with a qualified DMP practitioner, as the training is comprehensive, but it's important to remember that it can bring up powerful emotions and memories. It's not something to be taken lightly.
Okay, let's say someone undergoes a past life regression and uncovers something truly traumatic.
Yeah.
Like that intense battle experience we talked about.
Uh-huh.
What happens next? How do they actually heal from those past life wounds?
That's where the real journey begins. It's a unique process for every person.
Okay.
With DMP, the process has various stages to take the person through. The memory to identify what the residue is, and then use techniques to bring healing to help release and express frozen emotions and also stuck body impulses.
Can you give me an example of what that might look like?
Yeah, certainly. Let's say, for instance, someone discovers they were a soldier who died in a particularly gruesome battle. After the death of the soldier, with DMP techniques, we explore what actually happens to the spirit of that soldier and work with the resources that are available in the spiritual realms to help clear the traumatic energy imprinted on the soul from that experience. Emotional release may involve supporting the body to shake, to release the sensation of fear, and then naturally with moving the stuck residues, the emotion of grief tends to surface.
Okay.
Following the session of DMP, we usually advise clients to connect with nature by going for a walk or spending some time outdoors, as this helps ground the person and enables deeper healing and integration.
So it's not just about uncovering the past, it's about actively healing it. This all ties into what you mentioned earlier about healing across lifetimes.
Yeah.
Can you explain that concept a little more?
Well, transpersonal psychology operates from the understanding that we are not just linear beings. We're multidimensional with souls that exist beyond time and space. Like each lifetime is a chapter in the larger story of our soul's evolution.
So our souls are kind of like time travellers, accumulating experiences and wisdom across lifetimes.
That's a great way to put it. And every experience, every trauma, every lesson learned gets woven into the very fabric of our soul.
That's very profound. When we heal something in a past life, are we actually healing a part of ourselves that's still with us today?
Yeah, precisely. That healing can have a ripple effect, freeing us from patterns, the fears and limitations that we might not have even realised were rooted in those past experiences. It's like releasing old baggage that we've been carrying for lifetimes.
So it's almost like therapy for the soul, but across time.
Yeah, you could say that. And it opens a whole new dimension of healing and transformation. But we've been focusing a lot on past lives and we haven't delved as deeply into the influence of our ancestors.
Well, that's true, Juanita. I'm really curious about that. We touched on how unresolved issues and patterns can be passed down through generations, but how does that actually manifest in our lives today?
Well, that's quite fascinating, actually. These ancestral influences can show up in a multitude of ways, such as family dynamics, the recurring health issues, even career choices. It's as if our ancestors are part of our DNA, not just physically, but energetically and emotionally as well.
Okay, that's intriguing, Juanita. Can you give us some specific examples of how ancestral patterns might play out?
Certainly. Let me think. Let's say a family has a long history of financial instability. Several generations have struggled with debt or money management issues. This could be an indication of an ancestral pattern related to scarcity or fear around finances. Or perhaps there's a family where generation after generation has chosen the same profession, even if it doesn't seem to bring them fulfillment. This could be a sign of an unconscious loyalty to an ancestral lineage or a fear of breaking free from established patterns.
It's like we inherit just not their physical traits, but also their emotional and behavioural tendencies, their fears, their dreams, even their unfulfilled aspirations.
That's a great way to summarise it. And it's not about blaming our ancestors for our struggles. It's about, recognising those influences and choosing to heal them, to break free from those patterns that no longer serve us.
So, okay, how do we do that? How do we actually heal those ancestral wounds?
Well, again, it's using DMP techniques, which are really useful to work with and transform generational issues.
So how do you work differently from past lives to ancestors?
Well, ancestor influences can be playing out within the family system, and unresolved traumas or imbalances can ripple through the lives of other family members.
Okay, so it's like therapy for the whole family tree.
Yeah, exactly.
Addressing the root causes of those repeating patterns.
With DMP, it is important to enable the ancestor energies to express what they are still carrying and what will help resolve the issue and bring healing for all concerned. DMP is a process of uncovering and transforming those entangled patterns and loyalties that have been passed down, often unconsciously, from one generation to the next.
That's fascinating, Juanita. It really highlights the interconnectedness of our experiences.
Absolutely.
How the past, whether it's our own past lives or the lives of our ancestors, isn't separate from our present.
Exactly.
It's all woven together in this intricate tapestry.
It truly is. And the important thing is recognising these connections can be incredibly transformative, offering deep healing and a profound sense of belonging. But using DMP techniques, people can explore and heal from those influences.
We've already covered past life regression, ancestor work. What else is out there?
Well, mindfulness and self-awareness is important.
Okay, but how does that help with ancestral trauma or past life wounds?
It's about developing a deep awareness of your thoughts, your feelings and behaviours. When you cultivate that inner awareness, you begin to notice these repeating patterns that might be rooted in the past.
Okay.
Perhaps you notice a tendency to isolate yourself whenever conflict arises, just like your grandfather used to do. Or maybe you realise you're always feeling anxious around successful women.
Oh, that's so true.
Echoing a pattern of disempowerment that runs through your maternal line.
So being self-aware helps us see those echoes of the past playing out in our present lives.
Absolutely.
Like a spotlight illuminating those hidden patterns.
Exactly. From that place of awareness, we can begin to make different choices. We could choose to respond differently, reach out to find, obviously, a DMP therapist to work with and heal those old wounds, and also to create a new story for ourselves.
A new story, that's really empowering.
It is.
It's about taking back our power from the past and creating a present that's aligned with our authentic selves.
Precisely. It's about reclaiming our freedom, stepping into our full potential and living a life that's truly our own without past influences.
I know I've learned a lot today, but I must admit it's also a lot to process. What's the one key takeaway you want listeners to walk away with from this deep dive?
More than anything, I want them to know that they are not alone. Whatever you're struggling with, whatever patterns or fears you're facing, there's a good chance they have roots that extend far beyond this current lifetime.
So we're all connected by this invisible web of past experiences, all carrying the echoes of those who came before us.
Exactly. And recognising that interconnectedness can be incredibly healing.
Yes, absolutely.
It can help us to feel less, isolated, less broken, and more empowered to create, the life we truly desire.
That's a beautiful message to end this section on. We'll be back in part 3 to explore some more fascinating insights from Juanita. Welcome back to the deep dive. We're wrapping up our exploration of ancestors and past lives with Juanita. I have to say this deep dive has been quite a journey.
It has been quite revealing, hasn't it?
Yes.
It's amazing how much our understanding of the self expands when we consider the influences that reach far beyond this single lifetime. You know, we've been focusing a lot on the challenges, the traumas that can be carried across lifetimes. But what about the strengths, the gifts and the wisdom that we might also inherit?
That's a great point, Juanita. We've been so focused on potential burdens that we haven't really considered the potential treasures of what might also be woven into our souls. So are you saying that these influences aren't just sources of trauma?
Absolutely. Our ancestors and past lives aren't just sources of baggage. They also carry wisdom, resilience, and the unique talents that we can tap into. It's like we inherit not only their challenges, but also their strengths.
That's a really encouraging perspective, Juanita. It makes me think about those times when I feel a sudden, almost inexplicable pull towards a particular activity, a hobby, or even a place I've never been to before. Could that be a past life or an ancestor beckoning me, guiding me towards my true path?
It's certainly a possibility. There are moments of resonance, those times when something just clicks and you feel deeply aligned. It could be that you're connecting with a past life where you excelled in that area, or perhaps an ancestor is guiding you towards expressing a talent that's been lying dormant within your lineage.
But how do we become more attuned to these positive influences? How can we actually start to draw upon that ancestral wisdom and strengthen our lives?
Well, you know, this is where I'm going to say, I recommend having DMP sessions to help you connect and create space for those subtle messages to emerge. But there are other things you can do, like meditation, journaling, spending time in nature. These are all ways to cultivate inner stillness and connection. It's like tuning into a radio frequency that's always been there, but perhaps being drowned out by other noises, from your busy life.
Yes. So by tuning into our inner world, we can start to tap into the wisdom of those who came before us. It's like opening a channel of communication with our ancestors and past selves.
Exactly. And that wisdom can be incredibly valuable, especially during times of transition or uncertainty, or when you're feeling lost or stuck. It can provide clarity, guidance and a deep sense of belonging.
So instead of a feeling of being burdened by the past, we can actually use it as a resource, a wellspring of wisdom and strength to draw from.
It is.
But let's get really practical here, Juanita. Let's say someone is feeling lost in their career or unsure of their direction in life. Could connecting with their ancestors or past lives actually help them find their way?
It's certainly possible. Remember those ancestral patterns we were talking about earlier? Well, those patterns can reveal not only challenges, but also untapped potential. Okay. By understanding the experiences and talents that have shaped your soul's journey, you gain a deeper understanding of your purpose and also direction in this lifetime. It's like uncovering a blueprint that's been there all along, guiding you towards your unique contribution to the world.
That's incredibly inspiring, Juanita. It shifts the whole narrative, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Instead of feeling trapped by the past, we can use it as a springboard to create a more fulfilling and meaningful future. It's like taking those ancestral threads and move them into a tapestry that reflects the fullness of who we truly are.
That's a beautiful way to put it. And that's what my work is all about, helping people recognize their inherent wholeness and stepping into their full potential by embracing the wisdom of their past. It's about seeing those ancestral and past life influences not as limitations, but as opportunities for growth, healing, and transformation.
As we conclude this deep dive into the world of ancestors and past lives, I want to leave our listeners with one final thought. What if the challenges we face in this life are not meant to break us, but to awaken us? What if there are actually opportunities to heal those ancient wounds, to integrate the wisdom of those who came before us, and to finally step into the future of who we are?
That's a powerful question to contemplate and take time to focus on that. And I believe that within each of us lies the potential to unravel those mysteries, to embrace the fullness of our being, and to create a life that honours the legacy of our ancestors and the wisdom of our soul's journey.
Thank you, Juanita, and thank you to everyone listening. We hope this deep dive has sparked your curiosity and inspired you to explore those hidden paths of yourself. If today's episode resonated with you, don't hesitate to reach out to Juanita. Her work is transformative and she's here to support you on your journey. Until the next deep dive, this is Energy Gateways signing off. Take care, and for more detailed information, visit the website energygateways.com or on YouTube search for Energy Gateways with Juanita.